water. Does me?
Oh yeah, we got you, bro.
You got one?
Mm-hmm. Joy, do me a favor. Hit that button. No, you wanted to get out your seat for me. And see where it said. See where it says.
Login?
No.
Remote
You
camera?
just hit that button. Great. That's all I need. Thank you.
Jay, make callers aware that we'll take their calls, but give us a minute because we already got like 1, 2 already calling in. All right.
Gotcha.
Oh, I should have did fight the power.
16. We'll bring you back to once fight the power.
That and my Common and John Legend joint.
Huh?
The Common and John Legend joint to the Selma movie. You know the soundtrack, the main song. You saw Selma.
Nah. Oh, I did see it. That was a while ago.
The Common and John Legend single. One day when the glory.
Oh!
Can you bring him back? When we come back from that first break, can you bring him back to Public Enemy, Fight the Power? A little, like 30 seconds of that, if you can.
Let me try to see if I can get it. Hold on.
Those are my two main
I wish
artists.
you to say.
I wasn't thinking. Nah, that ain't you. That's my fault. I wasn't thinking. Any man, my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
See if I can do this right. All right, I got it. The Selma one, Glory.
Yeah.
I got it. All right, Jay. 30 seconds. Coach Joy, 30 seconds.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Acres of Diamonds. I'm your host for today, this evening rather, Brother Jihad Ahmed. We got a great show in store for you.
You already sing?
There's always one in the crowd. There's always one. There's always one, Dr. Umar. There's always one.
I heard that high pitch. I was about to say.
Welcome, everybody. We got a great show. Today's date is Monday, January the 28th, and this indeed is a special show for a lot of reasons.
Why is that?
First reason is because we never did a guest back to back before.
No, we didn't.
Never ever in the history of us being here, going on 1 year. We've had guests. We had my guests come back once or twice.
Yes.
But never ever the following Monday. And I'm very excited about our guest, and everyone knows who he is in the studio, and everyone out there in Facebook land knows. If you are,
What's wrong?
I don't see none of my
What?
things that tell me. It's okay.
Who we are and what we do.
Who we are. What we
If you turn around, you'll see who you
It's right
are.
there. It's in blue.
No, I know Acres of Diamonds.
Oh,
That's
you
the start.
talking about Black Talk Radio?
BlackTalkRadio.com.
Elliot's going to get it. And I was just saying, didn't I tell you before we went on?
Time for awakening.
I got to write everything
There
down.
you go.
But
I
I
know
do know the
some of it.
telephone number. Okay?
You know the telephone
And
number?
I promise when I come back
There you go.
from,
We'll have all of it.
I'll have it all.
There you go. Happy birthday, Jay.
Happy birthday. Thank
You
you.
have a right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And my mother and father's anniversary, and I'm
I saw that, 52 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Today.
And it's somebody
My sister wrote it.
50.
Yep.
That's my buddy. I go back
That's
a long
your
way
buddy.
with her. That's
Y'all got close
the
birthday.
first introduction. Today's her birthday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
And today's mom and dad's.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yep.
See, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, Black Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
52
52
years
years.
of marriage.
Mm.
How did
That's
they
right.
hold it on?
Mm.
How did they hold it together?
Fighting and cussing.
And a lot of making
But
up.
love and love. I'm sorry.
With love.
I'm
Love.
sure they
What am
had
I
a lot
talking
of
about?
making
Love.
up, yeah.
Love always. Yep.
Before I do anything and we go into the show, I have to acknowledge everyone that's here in the studio. Dr. Umar Johnson is definitely with us. He's going to be coming back, and he's going to be talking. We're going to be talking about education,
Okay.
racism, and black love. Why is it important for us to have black love?
Mhm.
Why is it important for us to have our own educational system? Last week, we did not have an opportunity to talk about a lot of the things that we wanted to talk about. So tonight, we want to kind of make up for it. But as I always do, I want to say good evening to Joy. Good evening, Joy.
Hey, good evening.
I switched it up.
I see you did.
No.
He was ready. He's like, oh, he's going
He wanted to get that
I got
respect.
straightened.
He wanted respect on his name.
Nah, it's always there.
Joining me in the studio, never failing me anytime, my partner in crime, Troy. When you say his name, put some respect on it, Jones.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here this evening.
You know, it's always a pleasure.
You could have been anywhere tonight.
I chose to be right here.
You chose to be here, and I'm grateful for
All right.
you and Joy being here this evening. Troy, what's going on, man? What is the skinny? What is the rumor? What is going down across the town?
So we're going to go right into that and then the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Well, and there it is.
Oh,
Y'all hear the music.
Whoa.
He's out. He just got out the other day, DMX.
And he performed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you was telling me that. I didn't know he performed.
Ja Rule couldn't couldn't perform.
So
He stood in,
that's what's up.
and they said he tore it up.
I'm sure he did because that's
Yep,
DMX, the dog.
the dog. Burr, burr.
I was trying to find some dog.
Couldn't find it.
I couldn't find any.
Do you
But
know?
he just got out of the Federal Correction Institute in West Virginia. He was there for tax evasion, so he was there for a year. Unfortunately, I know he's happy to be out and start his career again, or keep his career moving. Because I was just reading, he had a couple of projects going on, maybe some movie stuff, and of course some more album stuff. So he's going to be out there doing it. He still owes the federal government $2.3 million in restitution. That's a lot of loot, but I'm sure he'll get it, which it'll be no problem. But DMX is out, so all the fans, I'm a fan. I can't wait to see him perform and do his thing.
He's going to go back onto that show. What's that woman?
What's that?
Somebody Fix My Life.
Yeah, they left Ayanna Van Zandt.
See, that's
really?
Because I couldn't remember her name.
Yada Van Zandt?
I remember her name.
He's going to do another show with her. Because remember the last show, he jumped up and cursed her out.
And she's irritating, but she's an amazing black woman.
Very amazing, yeah. So that's good. I wanted to say something about the Black Panther. They won the SAG award, the whole cast, and I think I think it was what's her name? The one I like, Jordan.
Oh,
What's my girl name?
Bassett.
Yeah, Miss Angela Bassett. She said her husband kind of. Well, she didn't say, but they were saying he might have spilled the beans a little bit about how. Everybody in the cast is probably going to be coming back on the Black Panther 2 or the sequel.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be definitely cool. You got people coming from the grave, and they're going to be back on there. So I can't wait.
All those people, they got to come back.
Yeah.
I mean,
But how did the movie end? I
forgot.
Forgot how Black Panther is.
Yeah, I forgot too.
I know all I know is Wakanda for life. That's all.
Yeah,
Wakanda for life.
Well, forever, but who cares?
Who cares? On a sadder note, did you check out this Michael Jackson thing yet, Joy? Did you look at it yet?
Let's have it, man. Because I'm in defense of MJ, man.
I know you are.
He's dead, man. He can't
Yes.
defend himself.
You can't. You have to do it, Jay.
So, all right, here we go.
You
They
got
spent
it,
$20 million, right?
23 million.
He gave that guy $20 million.
Something.
The first accuser, right?
Yes.
So it's two accusers on there that said that Michael Jackson
Did what he did.
did what he did to him.
Yes.
Now they released this movie, this documentary. It's coming on HBO in March,
Yes.
right? And 4 hours long. Now the family said that this is tabloid exposure.
At his best, yeah.
At his
They
best.
said they never talked to
They never talked
anybody
to anybody
on
else,
his side.
just these two
Just,
individuals.
I think
Now,
2 or 3.
The
Yeah.
main guy on there,
Yeah.
$20 million was given to, I believe, his family years ago.
Yes.
Because they said Michael was not the type that wanted to fight. He didn't want to.
Right. He
He
didn't
didn't
want
want
to
to go
bring
through
all
it.
that
He
attention
just
to
was
himself.
like, "Look, man, I want to do my performance. I just want this to go away."
Right.
So there's nobody to speak out for Michael Jackson. So the estate put this. I mean, it's got to be hard on his kids. He's got those 3 kids out here
Yeah.
today, and it's got to be really, really, really rough on them. You know, they're talking bad about their father.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
No.
Because I know you're a fan.
I want to hear
I
your
know
thoughts.
Joy's definitely a
I
fan.
want to hear your thoughts.
I'm a fan up until somebody proves me otherwise.
Right. I mean, I spoke to a couple of people about the whole settlement thing, and that happens. That goes on. Artists don't want their name slandered and dragged through the media. Because it could because it could kill their career. So they will settle, even though they weren't wrong. I mean, they were right and didn't do anything. Is that MJ's or
innocent and still
yeah?
settled.
Is that where we're how we looking at MJ? Yes, okay. I just have a problem with close to $200 million has been put out there to these people, over 20 or however many victims or whatever, or accusers, and there's no truth to it. There's no possible truth. Maybe there is. Maybe I don't know.
My mic on?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I
Okay.
knew it.
Go ahead.
I knew it.
Go ahead. I mean, I like MJ too, but I'm just like
I was a very big Michael Jackson fan growing up in North Philly.
okay.
I danced. I had the gloves, every jacket,
You
every
had the
coat.
jackets.
Still mad at my mom because she didn't buy me tickets to the concert. But nonetheless, that campaign to recast Michael Jackson in the image of a pedophile was a music industry mafia hit. And what I mean by that, Sony Records, who many would, including myself, allege is responsible for Michael Jackson's assassination.
I believe that.
They wanted his percentage of the Beatles catalog back.
Right.
And they wanted his percentage of the Elvis Presley catalog.
Now, do Michael Jackson's family still own that?
I'm not quite sure, but from what it appears, they have it back. Just like it appears that Prince's estate has sold to Warner Brothers the unpublished catalog. Now, Michael Jackson, the number one selling musician of all time, was in debt to Sony because they sabotaged his last album, Invincible. They sabotaged Invincible on purpose, hoping that would force him to sell to them his portion of the Beatles catalog, the most popular white group in Western history.
And he owned Elvis Presley.
And Elvis as well. But Mike said, y'all sabotaged that album. I'm not giving y'all my catalog. That pedophile piece was a stunt to get him incarcerated. Put him further into debt. Where he would have no choice
But to give it up.
but to give it up behind bars. And let me say that whether these men are innocent or guilty, and I believe Mike is innocent.
Okay.
I believe Bill Cosby largely innocent. R. Kelly, I still need more proof, but he appears to have possibly been guilty. But I don't believe in persecuting anyone without evidence.
Okay.
Allegations is not evidence. You can have a million people. There's a million people who will tell you I'm not opening up no school. But on February 14th, guess what? I prove all million wrong. It doesn't matter. Quantity does not make the truth. And unfortunately, we live in a world where public opinion determines the truth, not evidence. Here's the point I want to make. Cosby, Michael Jackson, and this is not a coincidence that this Michael Jackson documentary is coming out now. This is part of the new face of white supremacy, okay? The feminist agenda, okay? To castrate, publicly assassinate the image of the black male, guilty or innocent. So when they start locking all of us up for alleged sex crimes, no one will care. Remember, study any great Holocaust. I don't care if you look at Hitler's Holocaust of the European Jews. I don't care if you look at the European Holocaust of the African, the greatest, or should I say the worst in human history. You can look at the German Holocaust of the British. You can look at any Holocaust in human history. Before you exterminate the victim, you must exterminate their image in the society. If you don't kill their image before the people, before you start locking them up and killing them, the people will fight against them. Quick example. Hip hop. The hip hop community is complicit in the mass fratricide in the black community, black on black crime. Our gangster rappers are going down in history as being the only population in human history who deliberately participated in the extermination of the image of their own black males. No other people has ever volunteered to participate in the assassination of their own image. Smoking weed, selling drugs, killing black men, exploiting black women, rampant European materialistic consumerism. And so guess what? The rap industry has done enough by itself without Hollywood. They don't need to make another Boys in the Hood. They don't need to make another Menace to Society.
How about that?
They don't need to make another movie killing the image of the black man because our gangster rappers have done it enough. And so now, when they lock us up, when the police kill us, no one speaks up because the hip hop industry has already castrated the image of the black male.
I hope y'all hear that, folks. I hope you're listening.
Yeah. You just answered 3 questions.
I think he answered more questions because I know that a couple of those things I wanted to talk about. But
I agree with that all completely.
think you hit it on the
Go
nose.
ahead, finish your part.
What else
We're
is
still
there?
on the news.
We're still on the news.
We're still on the news.
We had special commentary by.
I think we left the news.
No, keep on.
But no, I got some more stuff. We already heard, but we talked about MJ and the and like Doctor said, the one on R. Kelly is still out. We're not sure, but we'll come back to that at a later point.
Do you think he's going to? Do you think he's going to be brought to trial for this?
Oh, for MJ? I mean, not MJ. R. Kelly.
R. Kelly.
It depends on statute of limitations. What are the statute of limitations in Illinois? The other thing, too, that I've noticed is...
Well, what about the one where he flew some young lady that was underage from one state to another?
But when was that? You see, the statute of limitations. Now, a difference between Illinois and Pennsylvania. The age of sexual majority in Pennsylvania is 16. The age of sexual majority in Illinois is 17. So those 16-year-old girls, had he been in Pennsylvania, could not qualify as statutory rape. But in Illinois, they do. But again, the question is, what is the statute of limitations?
And when,
And I would also say this. If all of those people who were interviewed on that show, if it comes out that they can all be held responsible as accomplices and accessories, I'm quite sure this whole thing is going to go away. Because none of them are willing to go. That was not the point. The point was to expose him for not giving them the pay that they was looking for. And the trifling thing about the whole thing, it was never about the kids. The documentary wasn't even about the kids. It was about, I didn't become rich. I didn't become famous. You didn't make me your woman. So now I'm going to expose you. But the sad part of that is what? If you would have made me rich, if you would have made me famous, if you would have made me your woman, I wouldn't have said a word.
Yep, you would never saw any of this. So we are going to move on.
Go ahead.
We touched on R. Kelly. You heard about C. Murder. He was denied a retrial in his 2009.
Who's C. Murder?
C. Murder.
Masterpiece brother.
Masterpiece brother.
Oh.
They said he was at a show. He just did a show, and there was an altercation. A 16-year-old juvenile got killed, and they said they said C. Murder was the person who shot him, and he's been locked up since. You know, like last year, they gave him a new trial, or they gave him a new, I believe it was a new trial, but then they just ruled that there was enough evidence. Apparently, the person who fingered C. Murder in the whole thing wasn't a good witness, and some other nonsense. So I guess he's not getting out. I guess they're going to wait to see if they have any more appeals, to see what else they can do to to help his brother with regards to Master P. But that's the thing with C. Murder. I thought he was going to get out, based on this new evidence, but apparently not. Moving on to something that's kind of crazy in my opinion, but we already see it happening. It's going on all over the country, and that's this whole marijuana bit. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, it seems like Joe Montana, and everybody knows Joe Montana, the quarterback, the Hall of Fame quarterback, just dropped $75 million, him and some investors, $75 million.
$75
million into a company in California that's going to be selling marijuana products, everything about marijuana. $75 million. It's like, it's startling. It's shocking. I don't even know what to say. They just opened the marijuana dispensary. Yeah, Joy, thank you. Right down here in Center City last week. I think it was last week. They opened it Thursday or Wednesday.
I don't think Pennsylvania has yet approved recreational.
No, not yet.
Okay,
No,
it's only medical right
now.
now. Okay.
Exactly.
This is it, like,
but it's going there.
Like if you're blind and you can't see.
I have a friend.
Or you have cancer, you're in pain.
Who she showed me her
marijuana card?
No, what is it called?
What?
When you gotta go to the doctor, you get a prescription, and she smokes it out of a e-cigarette.
Really?
Yep.
So she got a marijuana card.
I don't know what the card is.
We definitely gonna be talking.
She got a pipe.
Later on in the show, we're gonna be talking about that with Dr. Umar.
Okay.
His thoughts on it. Not right now, but later on.
Okay, because we just started off right now. All right.
I know how you do,
what else I got? Two more things, and then we'll be done, and we'll go ahead and take a break. But Harvey Weinstein, he's back in court. He just got finished being denied, or the judge refused to dismiss his case. He wanted to throw it out on that rape allegation. And they were like, nope, we're moving to trial. It's coming up this May, it's scheduled for trial. But he's got a new legal team, apparently. He got rid of one of his...
He might be all right now that R. Kelly is in the limelight. Weinstein might get up.
Well, there's another name y'all leaving out.
Who?
Mr. Epstein.
Who's that?
The man who used to fly former President William Jefferson Clinton to his exclusive island in the Caribbean, which they call Sex Island.
Oh, wow.
Which allegedly is a pedophile island. And he also flew there not only with Clinton, but he also flew there with Harvey Weinstein.
Get out of here.
He just had a case in West Palm Beach where everybody thought he was going to jail for sex abuse. And guess what? He walked. And everyone in the case said the only reason why he walked is because of who he is and where he is. The only reason why Harvey Weinstein is going to be retried is because he's not far enough up the ladder of white power to walk. And Epstein's charges are worse than Weinstein. Weinstein abused women. Epstein abused women and children.
Wow.
Yeah, because when you said that, I'm like,
We gotta look him up.
Oh, let us be clear. Let us be clear about something. When you dealing with white supremacy, you dealing with secret societies, you dealing with pedophilia, and you dealing with resource control, and you dealing with Satanism. Let me say it again. When you dealing with white supremacy, you are dealing with pedophilia, resource control, Satanism, and secret societies. They go hand in hand. And that's why when you look at Hollywood, you look at the music business, in order to break the $500 million ceiling, you normally have to pledge yourself either to Satanism, a secret society, homosexuality, or pedophilia.
All right. The last thing
We're
going to talk about is this Terry Crews and D.L. Hughley.
Ooh, I got some thoughts on that.
Now, I got a little soundbite. Want y'all to hear Jay?
Play the soundbite.
I'm play the
Let's
soundbite.
hear that soundbite. Is this the soundbite by Terry Crews or
This
DL
is
Hughley?
DL
Okay.
on his point. You know, I'm only going to play a little bit because he goes into some other stuff. But here's the soundbite so y'all can hear real quick.
On Facebook Live,
What's
they
that?
said that what about the sport player named? Because I mean, look at Terry Crews. He's like this big. He's a black guy. He's strong. He's got muscles and everything. I'm thinking like, nah, dude, you should have went up in his grill, man.
My personal opinion is that he was concerned about his future in the industry
He said that.
as a black male,
He said that.
given Harvey Weinstein's power. And when we think about sexual abuse and harassment, it is more about power than it is the sex. And so for Harvey Weinstein to do that, assuming Terry Crews is not bisexual, that was a power play. Not only am I going to harass you, I'm going to do it in the presence of your spouse. Pure power play.
Wow.
And I think that as a black male, a dark-skinned black male in Hollywood, he looked at this and said, this man has power. And I have to be very careful because even if he's found guilty, That has nothing to do with how he can backdoor sabotage my career the same way we've seen Colin Kaepernick's career get backdoor sabotaged. Even though it was illegal for the presidents of the NFL teams to collude to keep him from being hired, we found out a few months ago that's exactly what they did. So that conversation about power and oppression is a very sensitive conversation, because everyone has an opinion as to how you should react when your livelihood is at stake. It's no difference than in slavery, when black women willingly, not because they wanted to,
and not because they couldn't fight back,
they went along with the sexual abuse of the slave master, not because they wanted it, because I don't believe in any Negro Bedouin's theory that says black women secretly lusted for the white slave master. I don't agree with that garbage. But I do want to say this. They went along with it because guess what? By having sex with him, my husband wouldn't get whipped as much. Having sex with him, my babies wouldn't be sold 8 states away. So there was a strategy to it. You look at Queen Cleopatra and how she slept with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. She wasn't in love with those Europeans, but she did it as a way to ease the oppression that those two devils put upon the backs of Africans and Kemet.
There you have it. That was good.
That's just a start, guys.
That's just a start.
Just a taste, a little taste. An appetizer, if you will.
Woo. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk more with Dr. Umar about his school. Why is it so important for him to establish this school? We're going to talk about different aspects of the school. But, you know, I know people have been saying, why is the school so important? Why is his school so important? Why not a charter school? Why not a public school? Why not an independent school? We're also going to talk about racism. Where did it come from? From his research and his thoughts. Where did racism come from? Where did it all start for us to be looked at as we're the worst thing on this planet? And we're going to talk about black love. Why is black love so much needed in our homes, in our families, in our marriages, in our relationships, and why we can't come together as black people? I think that all of those 3 questions and so much more is going to come up. And we're very looking forward to this conversation. We're going to take a break. You're listening and watching Acres of Diamonds. We'll be right back. Do 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 do.
Have relationships with dozens of
Yeah.
insurance companies in order
Yeah.
to find you the right price with the right protection.
Yeah, buddy.
Our licensed agents and customer service staff are experienced and caring.
To move this camera right here like that.
Based in West
Oh,
Philadelphia,
Troy, you gonna do the weather?
Insurance Masters
You gonna do the weather, Troy?
is
You got a weather going on?
insurance
Boy, let's see.
dedicated exclusively to providing insurance
I said he's
solutions
doing
for
weather
our
today.
Oh,
He's gonna have a green screen up in here.
we was.
And this high
Yeah.
thought.
We're good on all ends.
Take comfort in knowing our
You got that Public Enemy joint, Troy? Oh, don't forget
Nah,
that.
glory. He gonna do
right,
glory.
right.
You got the
He gonna
glory
do the
joint?
glory joint,
The
right?
glory.
home insurance when you partner with the Insurance Masters, located in West Philadelphia.
No. You good. You like
Oh,
your
get my
shit?
new growth now.
Haverford
Come
Avenue.
on.
Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Oh, you good.
All right, great number is tight. 23 line. That's good.
This is the piece, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. Put your decorations up.
Y'all seen that movie?
Yeah, I saw Selma.
What is it?
Huh?
It was produced by a black woman, which is a good thing.
I want to talk about Black Hollywood.
I don't know
too.
why she saw the need to highlight his marital infidelity. And when asked about it, you might want to bring that up, because that's
Why did she?
Yeah.
She's hurt.
You talking about the one that made the movie?
yeah, the one that made the movie.
That's important to black women.
It's not important to tear down heroes.
No, I don't think we should.
And we're the only people I know who, when they honor their heroes, they have to highlight everything they did wrong. Thomas Jefferson was a pedophile right here in Philadelphia. Used to molest black girls. Sally Hemings was his favorite. Even took her on the boat with him back to Europe for vacation. You never hear white folks bring it up.
We
Yes.
don't even know why we're doing
without a
What
timeout.
movie is it from?
And it's like
Selma.
somebody could be really
Selma?
doing something
Yes.
well.
Yes,
and
it
then
will
we're
still
just
go
like,
there.
Oh no, but you know he didn't do this. Oh, you know she didn't do that.
You ready?
We're
Yeah.
used to
Everybody
that.
ready? Coming
We're
back.
used to that.
Well said. Well said.
Good evening and welcome back. Welcome back to the show. That musical selection was a very, very deep selection, and that was by choice by Dr. Umar Johnson. And you know, I was asking him about the songs. I admit it, I didn't see that movie, Selma. And you were telling us during the break a little history about that particular movie.
Yes, produced by a black woman, which is a good thing. And I thought it was especially a great thing that she chose to produce a historical movie, something that was relevant.
Right.
Not one of these sensationalized romance, violence movies that most black film producers are addicted to. So I was very pleased with her choice to take a portion out of the civil rights struggle and highlight it, which is the March to Selma.
Okay.
However, I took issue with the fact that she saw the need to enunciate Dr. King's infidelity to his wife. And so for me, as I was saying with the Queen earlier, we are the only people who have a need to expose the faults of our heroes and sheroes. And we will pay more attention to the fault than the virtue. Now, I look at a Dr. King compared to a Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Obama did nothing of substance for black people and is totally honored. Dr. King gave his life for black folks. Had his house bombed twice with his children and wife in it. Went to jail more than 200 times. Here's a man with a doctorate degree. His father was the top minister in Georgia. He could have easily become a T.D. Jakes. He could have easily been a klepto dollar. But instead, this brother said, I know I'm klepto. On purpose, by the way. He could have easily done that, but instead, on purpose. He decided to give his life for his people's liberation. And whenever there's a conversation about Dr. King, they bring up the infidelity as opposed to the sacrifice that he made.
They, who are you talking about? Because I look at
as black
King,
people.
like we look at him almost like Jesus in the black family with his picture, you know. So I just like
if you go to any Dr. King clip on most social network sites, people's pages, if you go to YouTube and look them up, if it was uploaded by a black person, if you read the comments, you will see a overwhelming amount of comments focused on his infidelity to his wife, which ironically, Queen Mother Coretta never spoke about. She refused. Even after he died, they pressed her, black and white reporters. How did you feel about your husband's extramarital affairs? And guess what she said? What extramarital affairs? My husband's work is too great for me to allow any one of you to try to tear it down, because in tearing Dr. King down, you not only tear me and my family down, you tear black America down. She was thinking about the people more than herself, which I would even compare to Emmett Till's mother, who, when Mammy Till Mobley, rest in peace, I visited her grave in Chicago with her sons a couple years ago. And they're actually buried in the same cemetery with Noble Drew Ali, the father of the Moorish Science Temple. They're in the same Chicago cemetery. I don't know if Fred Hampton is there, though, because I don't remember seeing his grave. But nonetheless, this is a woman who had to face her son's body after being left for days in the river, already beginning to rot. And she said, take it off. Take my baby out the ground, because they buried him before she got there without her permission. She said, we flying this back to Chicago. And white Mississippi didn't want her to take the body back. So she had to get on the phone and she had to call black U.S. congressmen. She had to call Chicago politicians to force the Mississippians to let her bring her son's body back to Chicago. Because she wanted the world to see what America let happen to her son, for which not a single person was persecuted. Both white men were acquitted of the crime of murdering Emmett Till. And guess what? After they were acquitted, because of the double jeopardy law, you can't be tried twice for the same crime. Can you believe those two Neanderthals turned around and sold their story to a popular magazine detailing how they murdered Emmett Till and could not be retried because of the double jeopardy law.
Wow.
And what just happened a couple months ago? The white woman,
yes,
okay, confessed to an author allegedly
She lied about it.
that she lied about the whole
I
thing.
read that.
And they refuse, the Department of Justice refuses to go after her because she's old. Could you imagine if a black man was responsible for the murder of a little white kid? He could have been 150, they would have dug him up.
yeah. I went to the African American Museum in D.C. And
Yeah, you spotted them at
you saw
exhibit.
the exhibit. They won't even let you take pictures in there.
No, they don't.
They don't want you to
I think
take
that was that the original casket
Yes,
that
that's
he was
the
in?
original casket.
Okay.
And the story, her story is there. It
Yeah.
talks
And I
about-
don't think she's deceased yet, by the
No,
way.
it's
She's
a
still
video
alive.
of her.
The deep part, I remember as a child growing up, we remember seeing the pictures on the Jet and Ebony magazine.
Yes.
His face was...
Just swollen.
Speaking of the Smithsonian, if I could for a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
I want to show you how hypocritical white supremacy is. Because they won't take $500 million and fix the public schools in Philadelphia. They won't take $500 million and give it to our ex-offenders so they can start businesses since no job will hire them. They won't take that $500 million and create some sort of program for black elders so they can get the quality of health care that they deserve, but they'll take $500 million. President George W. Bush, by the way, authorized that. And they took $500 million to build a museum to black folks, but you won't use that same amount of money to invest in the development of black America. And when you go to the Smithsonian, if your eyes are now wide open, your third eye, you will totally miss the fact that the whole museum is an insult to black people. When you begin your tour, you begin with slavery, level 1. And then you move up to Civil War, level 2, Reconstruction. Then you go to civil rights.
Entertainment on the top.
What's at the top? Entertainment. The museum ends with a whole floor to entertainers and another floor to athletes. How in the hell does Serena and Venus get a shiny platinum looking statue, but Harriet Tubman ain't got one? How in the hell does Michael Jordan get a big screen TV with all of his highlights and LeBron James with another big screen TV with all of his highlights, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Marcus Garvey are squeezed up in a corner somewhere, and if you don't pay attention, you might not even see them. You go to the American Jewish Museum. You got one right here in Philadelphia. Show me a floor full of entertainers and athletes. You can't find it nowhere. No floor on historically black colleges. No floor on police genocide. No floor on all the inventions that black people make. Do you realize the reason we in here right now? Because of a black man named Dr. Lewis Latimer wrote the textbook on how you can light up a city at night. They brought him to China to teach the Chinese who we think so smart. But the Chinese needed a black man to come and show them. Then they took him to Europe. Then they took him to Canada. The only reason why you can see at night is because of a black man. But guess what? There's no floor for that. But we can give you a whole floor to a whole bunch of white woman loving, white people loving Negro athletes and entertainers who do next to nothing for black folks. That museum is a disgrace, and it's not over. Because once you go through them 5-6 floors, you're a little hungry, right? You're a little hungry. And then you go down in the dining hall, and guess what they selling? Pork chops, chicken wings, fried chicken, watermelon. That's a damn coon museum. That ain't no black history. That's coon history. Listen.
And it's expensive.
I walked away.
I know you did. That food is expensive.
I didn't eat there.
Why not have cuisine from the different African nations from which we come? Show some authentic Ghanaian cuisine, Cameroonian, Ethiopian, Benin cuisine, Liberian cuisine, Sierra Leone. Now, we don't want to show you how they ate before we snatched them. We want to show you the diet that we gave them that they still got to this day.
Now, what about people that are saying, well, Dr. Umar, I feel what you're saying and how the museum starts in the bottom and how up at the top. But at least they are highlighting the accomplishments that black athletes have made and rappers and music.
Question. If LeBron James goes down in history as the greatest basketball player of all time, let's say he goes down as the greatest athlete of all time, is that accomplishment greater than what Queen Mother Harriet Tubman did? Is it greater than Dr. George Washington Carver? So then why in the hell is he on the top floor with a big screen and a statue and none of our real heroes and sheroes are represented in that same way? That museum, what did I just say earlier? Before you kill the body, kill the image. Do you realize that Chinese people are flying to America just to see that? I want to see what the black history was. Arabs, Latinos, East Indians, they go there and you know what they leave with? Let me tell you what they leave with. They were in Africa running around naked because they don't give you no prehistory of Africa. That museum doesn't give you any of the great African creations and accomplishments. They start you in slavery. So this is what you get. Let me give you what they were running around naked in Africa. The white man graciously came and saved them from their heathenism, enslaved them for their best interests to teach them Jesus. They didn't know what was good for them, so they fought against the slavery, not knowing that God chose us white folks to make you all civilized. But because y'all kept on crying, we freed you. And the minute we freed you, your ass picked up a basketball and a tennis racket. Tell me what's so great about that. The museum sends a message that you only wanted to be free to shake your booty and play some ball.
Sing a song.
And sing a song. Wow. That museum is a disgrace. Not to mention it's put together by who? The Smithsonian. Wait a minute. Is it the Smithsonian Institute? The same museum that took a black boy from Central Africa by the name of Atabenga, called him a pygmy, and put him on display in the New York City Zoo and took him around the country at all the different city fairs inside of a cage with a monkey.
What year was this?
This was 1916, 1918, 1920. And then the black church organized to get Atabenga taken out of the cave with the monkeys and the gorillas. And guess what he did after they let him out? Took his own life. It's a whole book on Atabenga. The Smithsonian Institute has been one of the major purveyors of negative information about African history. How in the hell we let them build the museum? But meanwhile, you got the Philadelphia Afro-American Museum struggling to stay. Meanwhile, you got the Great Blacks and Wax Museum 90 minutes away in Baltimore. Why didn't they give that money to them? Why didn't the Philadelphia Museum get the money? We want it in D.C. so we can control. And we want to control the narrative of what the world thinks about black folks.
Well, so true.
We got a couple of calls.
So true, so deep.
Sure, we can hit them.
Let's go right to the callers, man.
All right. There's a couple that have been waiting along.
Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, how you doing? This is Abdul from Brooklyn.
Hey, Abdul, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing well, Johnson.
Peace and love, black man.
Yes, congratulations on all your school. We actually met before in Jamaica, Queens, New York. I jokingly told you I was a Patriots fan. Anyway, I just want to know what you think of ladies Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What can we do as black as she's from New York, where I'm from, and I understand we blacks have to get together, do things together, but it seems like the Democratic Party was going after gay issues and Latino issues, but that's nothing to do with no kind of black issues. I heard you say that. So what can we do as black people to organize and maybe let her know our issues, so she's not going to come to us.
No.
Okay. I'm not familiar with her per se, but I will say this. The switching or the neglect of attention paid to the black agenda has actually been supported by black people. We are so multicultural that we will stay multicultural even if it kills us. We are the reason that LGBT is being taken more seriously than black folks. We are the reasons that the illegal immigrants get more attention than black folks. We are the reasons that the feminist movement is being taken more seriously than black folks, because our multiculturalism dictates that everyone else's issue is as important as ours. When Barack Obama took office and totally dismissed black agenda issues and went straight to the LGBT issues, not a single black leader, not a single black preacher, not a single black politician, not a single black organization dared to constructively criticize Barack Obama for taking everything black people fought for and giving it to gays, women, and illegal immigrants. This is our fault. And this is why, for me, Dr. King is uncomparable. You cannot compare Dr. King to no one, because he was a media genius. Dr. King knew how to keep the black agenda at the forefront of the American political conversation, and he did that the entire time he was in charge of the Civil Rights Bill. But the minute he died, the very next year, we had the gay riots in New York. Within 2 years, the homosexual agenda started taking over the black agenda. It eclipsed it. And so every president, if y'all notice this, has to create a domestic issue that can eclipse the black agenda issue. For Barack Obama, it was LGBT. I'm going to pay attention to gays so I don't have to pay attention to blacks. Donald Trump is women and immigrants. I'm going to pay attention to women and immigrants so I don't have to pay attention to blacks. And no matter who wins next, Kamala or Hillary or whoever else they stick up there, they also have to find a domestic agenda item, because everyone knows there's always domestic issues in any country. You have to pick and choose your domestic issues to make sure black people don't get any attention. It's called controlled opposition. Create the opposition you want to make sure black people's issues never get the light of day.
Yeah, so why don't our issues get the attention that it deserves?
Because we're too handcuffed to multiculturalism. Black people are too insecure to stand out as black people. This is why we have all these different names. People of color. I see Negroes running around talking about some people of color. They didn't call you people of color in slavery. Why are you calling yourself people of color? Because you want to blend in with Arabs. You want to blend in with Latinos. You want to blend in with all these other folks who don't care nothing about you. Until we become unapologetically African and unapologetically black and stand as a group by ourselves. And the irony, y'all, is we're the only people who have a right to stand alone. Your history is unlike anyone else in America. Your politics is unlike anyone else in America. Your incarceration is unlike anyone else in America. Everything about the African is so unique that you have a right to stand alone. But you've been intimidated and bullied against being proud to be black in public. Nobody's proud to be black in public.
There you go. We got
Let's go back to the next caller.
Caller, you on the line?
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hey, what's up, Dad? Joy, cool on, man. Good.
Peace and love, black man. Oh, no doubt.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to the next call.
Caller, you there?
Good evening. Welcome to the show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello. You're on with Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh, no. I got to again for those nights.
Okay.
I hope the school gets good.
Yes, sir. February 14th, I'm making the announcement. Instagram and Facebook. Be tuned in on Facebook, Dr. Umar Ifatunde. On Instagram, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Okay. Now, speaking of the school, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to, stick in line a little bit.
Sure.
People have criticized you for the school.
Yes.
People have said that you have collected money throughout the country and donations and
Throughout the world.
Throughout the world.